like a Hellcat. Like a Hellcat.
It's a little bit better. It is a stunner from Fabio Quagliarella. It's on again for Jacko, who's in for Roma and scores.
Ciao ragazzi, and welcome to another edition of Serie Sitdown, World Football Index's podcast of Calcio. Told like it is, I'm Frank Crivello. He's Richard Carmen. Ciao, Richard.
Ciao, Frank. How are we doing on this Wednesday night? Thursday night?
Yeah.
You don't do this anymore. We keep changing up on each other.
It's Wednesday night. We moved out of consideration of everybody wanting to go election night crazy, and I don't know if it would have made a difference. So,
Yep.
But because I think people are still election night crazy, and they're going to be that way for a long, long time. So, we shall see. By the time they figure out who this damn president is going to be,
We'll be in our sixth season.
No, it'll be our next. It'll be time for the next presidential election. So
There you go.
that's the way it's going to go. Okay, that's it for election talk. If you're in the chat, if you're joining us, no chat about this. Okay,
None.
this is an escape. This is a safe place where we don't talk about politics or we don't talk about the election or any of that other crap. We're here to talk the Calcio, and we're here to break down everything that went down. So on this podcast today, we will examine the fortunes of the Serie A teams in the UEFA Champions League. As of tonight, we're at the halfway point of the group stage. See how it's looking for them. Have a look at their upcoming fixtures to determine if what possibility they have of achieving qualification. For one team, it's going to be really, really easy. For others, there's some issues. So we will take a look at all of that. We'll have a quick little look at the Europa League games that are going to be taking place on Thursday. Get you set for that. Also, obviously, breaking down everything that happened in match week 6. And finally, finishing that off with who won Calcio Twitter. Are you drinking tonight, Richard?
I'm drinking tonight. I just I thought I needed a little something extra tonight. So.
All right. Well, I got the beer tonight. I'm going with the Spotted Cow, your favorite that you never had before.
Yep, I got 4 Roses bourbon tonight. So.
Oh, excellent! I love that stuff.
Yeah,
Is that the single barrel, the small batch? Is it?
Yes. It
Okay,
is.
lovely.
It's smooth. I like it.
It is great stuff. You're drinking it neat too.
Yes, sir.
Good
That's
man.
how I like it.
Good man.
I
Good
like
man. All right. So we begin by breaking down what has been going on in the Champions League involving the teams in Serie A. It is mixed results so far would probably be the best way to describe the progress that our teams are making. Some in good, couple teams in pretty good shape, a couple teams with some work to do. Richard, let's start with Group B. Inter is bottom of that group on 2 points. Mönchengladbach lead the group on 5 points and are scoring like it's going out of style. They've scored 10 goals in 3 games. Shakhtar on 4, Real Madrid on 4, and then Inter on 2. And Inter are bottom as a result of losing at Real Madrid's training ground by a final of 3-2. Very entertaining game. Inter had many chances to get something out of it, but also allowed enough chances to not get anything out of it. First of all, your thoughts on how that game went?
It was an interesting game. I think going into the match, you weren't sure how Inter were going to do. Yes, Conte tends to do well in these kind of games. However, Real Madrid's been playing well as of late, and Inter have not been playing that great, and so we were wondering how that that would shape up. But what you saw is a back and forth, and I was on the live chat with our friend Uncle Sharmo. Had a live stream going on YouTube.
Yeah.
I followed along with him, and at one point when it was 2-2, they thought they were going to win the game. I mean, I thought they were going to win the game too. Of course, Madrid ended up winning that game, but it was a good back and forth game, and I thought Inter went head to head with them for the most part. They got the goals. They missed some opportunities. But ultimately, I think the better team did win.
Yeah.
But again, difficult game. Always going to be against Madrid and Zidane.
Anthony Calcutta checking in with us. Ciao, Anthony. Good to see you.
Ciao, Anthony.
I think that one thing, if there's something that you can take as an Inter supporter, that might be redeeming, Lautaro Martinez can do it by himself without Lukaku. A goal and an assist for him in this game against a top club. Sergio Ramos is definitely up there with a ton of experience, and Rafael Varane just sucks. And that's that aside, it's still Real Madrid, and there's still the pedigree of having to play them. So, it's it was a game that they did enough to win, but they also got exposed, as we mentioned.
2-0 going down quickly is never a way to do it, but they fought back from 2-0, which is good.
Right, and I thought it made for an entertaining game because both of these teams played as if they were desperate for the points to try to work their way back up, especially after Mönchengladbach absolutely shattered Shakhtar. I mean, 6-0 in a game that probably wasn't even that close. But it's what it is. So as we look at Inter now, they probably would have been a lot happier with a draw because it would have had them sitting in third. They would have been a couple points out of reach of Mönchengladbach for top spot in the group. But this group is wide open right now as it stands. Inter's path has to start with beating Real Madrid at the San Siro. And they get Shakhtar at home. If they lose to Real Madrid on match day 4 at home, I don't see how they get into the top 2 places to reach qualification for the last 16. That match day 4 home match against Real Madrid, in my opinion, that is Inter's most important game of the season thus far.
Yeah, they really have to come up with something. I mean, at minimum, a draw. Of course, you'd like them to get a win, and they're very capable of getting a win. But I think you're right. I think this is a big game for them with the Champions League. Otherwise, they're looking at possibly Europa League right in the face.
Sure.
But I think a draw is at minimum what they need, because you got to expect that Gladbach's probably gonna get another win. Anything can happen, obviously, but if you're betting man, you probably think Shakhtar is gonna take another beating or at least lose, and then you're forced to win 2 games after that, and at that point you might be out of reach. So best bet is get a draw at minimum, and then hope for the best. The best laid plan for them is to win. Go all out, and then you got a chance.
They get Shakhtar at home on match day 6. It's match day 5 where they have to travel to Germany and play Mönchengladbach. So, I mean, the path is very, very tricky, but I think it has to start with beating Real Madrid, because if you do that, I definitely fancy their chances of beating Shakhtar at home, and that puts them on 8 points. And then if they can get something out of the Mönchengladbach game with how tight this group has been, it's very, very possible. That they can qualify. But this is, the last couple of seasons of Inter in the Champions League, this is what it's been. It's come down to a conceded goal here or 1 goal short there. It was when they were in the group with Tottenham, famously, we were talking about this. I believe it was Inter was in the group with Tottenham. And was it Napoli that was in Liverpool's group that season?
Yes.
That it came down to the last game for them, and they both narrowly were beaten, or Inter lost at Tottenham on believe it or not, a Christian Eriksen goal. That set the stage for Tottenham, that got to play a Barcelona team that didn't give a shit because Barcelona had already qualified, and it left Inter sitting third and having to go back down to the Europa League. Well, then last season again, they're short a goal here or they miss out there. They go out at the expense of Borussia Dortmund, and I believe Barcelona. They were in their group again. So, we're seeing the same things. They're coming up short. And I only look at the Shakhtar game. I look at the sitter that Lautaro did miss in that game, and some of the other chances that they had. They could very easily be on 4 points here, with Shakhtar being on 3, and then you're talking about Inter being in better contention and maybe in a better position. But the way this group is shaking out and with how competitive it has been, I like if Inter can win at home against Real Madrid, I think they will win at home against Shakhtar, and I think those 6 points might just sneak them through for second spot. What do you think?
Yeah, might. And Frank Risorto's on the chat, and he says, "Bring on an Inter crisis. The world feels normal again."
Of course,
of course. Yeah, no, I think they could squeak by. And for them, I think it's you don't want to put you want things to be in your control. You don't want to leave it to other teams to make mistakes and stuff. I think do what you can, maximize the amount of points you can get in here. Beat Madrid, and then obviously take care of Shakhtar, and then leave it up to the game against Gladbach, and then you have a really good chance of qualifying to the group. And I think that's going to be their focus right now, because as much as you want to say, hey, we can go to Europa League and try to win that, there's some good teams in there, and oh, by the way, your rivals are over there, and they're playing pretty well at the moment too. So if you're them, the bigger trophy at the moment is Champions League. Go for that. I mean, you just want to come in the first 2 spots and move on to the next group, and then anything can happen. That should be their main focus at the moment, and depends on when these games fall, right? Because we've seen historically when Conte has more than 3 days to get ready for a game, he's one of the best in the world at doing it. But when he's on short rest, that's when his team tends to fall apart. And this is a prime example in the Real Madrid game. They go down 2-0 off the bat, so we'll see. Yeah,
it's big challenge, but win 2 out of 3. My thinking is their best bets are at home against Real Madrid, at home against Shakhtar, and that's their chance. But those are 2 games that I think they have to win for any look at getting into in second for sure. So over to Group D, and boy, Atalanta is still in this, believe it or not, no matter how badly they got hammered. Liverpool decided to be Liverpool and just absolutely. I mean, it is Diogo Jota who the announcer said it. He said it absolutely right. The kid's in the form of his life right now. Yeah. You run into that. You run into Mane. You run into Salah, and you know what? This was a concern going in. Atalanta have not been airtight back there by any stretch. And they just got exposed, against Liverpool. So. That's the bad news. The good news is that they're in third and they're very much in contention. And the way that this thing is shaking out, Ajax also, both Ajax and Atalanta have to go to Anfield.
Yep.
Okay. Let's just get this out here. First of all, let's get the obvious thing out of the way. Liverpool's winning this group.
Yes.
Atalanta. It's down to Atalanta and Ajax for second place. Ajax has to go to Anfield. Atalanta has to go to Anfield, and Atalanta has to go there first. So Ajax gets Midtjylland at home. So this is going to end up being Ajax going 3 points clear, but then you would hope on match day 5, Atalanta beats Midtjylland, and then Ajax loses at Anfield. So then they're both on 7 points, and then it comes down to match day 6 in Amsterdam, and that's really what it's going to come down for Atalanta's prospects to reach the knockout rounds of the Champions League. Can't outscore everyone. That's the damn truth. Yeah. But it's fun if you try.
Yeah. It's more fun for the neutrals.
Yeah, makes it more fun for me to watch. Yeah. That's for sure.
That's why we like Sassuolo so much.
Yes. So would you? I mean, I think this is cutting right now. Ajax, it was a 2-2 draw in Bergamo. So Atalanta, if it comes down to that scenario and they're each on 7 points going into match day 6, Atalanta will need to either win or have a draw at, I believe, 3-3 or higher. I think that. After that, it comes into goals for, goals against, or something like that. Which, if it's goals against, they're screwed. They lost. They shipped 5 against Liverpool. So, a draw of 3. So under those scenarios, Atalanta go through with a draw at Ajax of 3-3 or higher, or if they beat them in Amsterdam. Size up Atalanta's prospects for getting through.
If it does come down to the last day, even though it is in Amsterdam, it's a difficult place to play. You gotta like the players that Atalanta have in comparison. They're more experienced players than the Ajax players. They got some really great players when they're playing well. Ilicic will have many games under him at that point. Muriel, Zapata, I can list all the Atalanta players. If they come to play, I fully believe that they can come out with a victory there. Okay. But can they? That's a trick question. And we've seen can they stop any goals as well? Ajax are going to have their opportunities. They don't want to get into a shootout where it's 3-3 because if you're in this shootout scenario, it's probably not going to be a good case for them. And can they keep pace with Ajax? Who knows? I don't know. They need to figure it out. They got to square it up defensively because we've seen both in the league and in Europe. they've given up goals left and right, and so they need to figure that out. And I think they got enough time between now and then to figure that out, and then hopefully the players who are a little bit rusty can get back into shape, and then at that time they can maybe be on all cylinders. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I do like their prospects going into that game, but it's not going to be easy by any stretch. Coming down to a one-game all, basically, to see who goes on is never. You never know who's going to win that game because it's whoever's the best on that day. It's not necessarily the best team.
The other wrinkle that can get thrown into this is Liverpool beat Atalanta at Anfield. Okay, on match day 4, they get to 10 points. By doing that, they'll secure qualification to the next round, regardless of, or actually they'll get to 12 points. So they'll clinch qualification after match day 4 if they do that, if they beat Atalanta. If Ajax beat Midtjylland, they will be on 7 points. So that would leave Liverpool with just needing a point against Ajax at Anfield on match day 5, and then or a point at Midtjylland to go ahead and clinch their clinch first place in the group. I haven't dove very deep, but the one thing that you could see is that you could see Liverpool's best team at home against Atalanta on match day 4, and then you see, because Klopp has already done this, match day 5 against Ajax, you start seeing, the Divock Origis of the world and the Xherdan Shaqiris of the world playing against them, which makes it a little bit easier for Ajax, and they might get those 3 points. Instead of being level on points, then going into match day 6, and if the chat's following me, I hope they are. Get out your abacus. We could be having Ajax on 10 points, Atalanta on 7 points, and then Atalanta would have to just outright beat Ajax in Amsterdam, and then it can't be like a high-score draw. So it's ultimately, long story short, Atalanta's prospects of qualifying come down to match day 6 in Amsterdam.
Yeah, exactly. It hasn't been a good weekend or a good week for the blue and black teams of Serie A.
No, it hasn't. The quiet, under the radar, best managerial job being done in this group stage is Simone Inzaghi at Lazio.
Yes, I agree.
Through 3 games, now 3 games given the conditions that he's been in.
Yes.
Okay, let's be clear. He has 5 more points than I thought he would have.
Yeah.
Okay, he has 5 more points than I thought he would have. I did not think they would beat Dortmund at home. Nope. Really Dortmund, I thought, were slightly better on that game. Lazio took advantage of some very bad mistakes to get those 3 points. Yep. And then you have a less than full strength team going to Brugge and getting a point there. Yep. You have a less than full strength team going to Zenit in Russia. Not an easy trip. Fall behind, find the resources to come back and draw and get a point there. So they're sitting second in Group F. They host Zenit, and they host the teams that are going to be chasing them for points for qualification. Lazio have a very good chance to go through to the knockout stage. And under the circumstances, I think Simone Inzaghi deserves a lot of credit for paying. He's made the right decisions with these games, given what he's been afforded to work with.
Absolutely, and I think it might be even more impressive about the performances of the last 2 games as opposed to the Dortmund one, because he was dealing with a far from top lineup. Lots of COVID cases in both those games, where he missing a lot of players, and still found a way. They were resourceful enough to find a way to get a point in those games. Those points could come up huge towards the end of this thing. And so, if they start getting their guys back for the rest of these games, and they're at home, you gotta like their chances and coming away with at least a 1-goal victory in each of these games, and then they'll be in really pretty position to come out of the group easily. First or second spot, doesn't matter at that point, but they'll be out of the group, and they're in a great position at the moment. 5 points ahead of their rivals, like you said, and being at home. I mean, what more can you ask for? I think the job that Inzaghi has done thus far in the Champions League has been extraordinary. Given the circumstances, and if they do make it out of there, full credit goes to him for being able to manage this. When in the past we probably would have questioned that he could have done this, especially given the circumstances. So full props to him. It'd be nice to see Lazio. It would be a team that not many outside of their own fans thought that would qualify out of this group. So
It's probably going to come down to match day 6 where they're at home against Brugge.
Yep.
They'll beat Zenit at the Olympico, I think. Which will put them, ahead of them. And if you think Dortmund beat Bruges, well, then it puts Lazio 4 points ahead of Club Bruges. The only problem is Lazio on match day 5 go to Dortmund. I don't think they win that game. If they get a draw, though, they might have. If they beat Zenit match day 4, and assuming Dortmund beat Brugge on match day 4, okay. If Lazio go to Dortmund and get a draw, they'll clinch qualification regardless of what Club Brugge will do on match day 5 against Zenit. So they'll clinch going into that match day 6. And again, considering what Inzaghi has had to work with, that's a pretty impressive accomplishment.
Absolutely.
So that's the details, and that's what we're looking at when we lay the groundwork for Lazio. We saved the easiest for last, Juventus. Won 4-1 at Ferencváros, and now get them at home on match day 4. They do that. That'll put them on 9 points. Ferencváros will only be on 1 point after match day 4. Dinamo Kiev will host Barcelona, and you got to think Barcelona will come out of that at a minimum getting a draw. And if that happens, through 4 match days, both Barcelona and Juventus go through. So this one we don't have to waste a lot of time on. Juventus is in an excellent position and can clinch this on match day 4. I will say this though, looking at how that Barcelona Dinamo Kiev game unfolded, that's not a done deal for Barcelona going to the Ukraine. Nope. Dinamo Kiev had a ton of chances to get something out of that game. They're going back to the Ukraine kicking themselves, but as it pertains to Serie A, Juventus in great shape. Nothing to worry about here unless they have a total meltdown.
Yeah, and I don't foresee that happening, and it seems like they're almost only getting stronger. So, yeah, it looks like it's going to be a qualification as we expected, possibly most likely second in the group, which is they're more than happy with that.
Sure. And there's an outside chance that they could go to the Camp Nou and stun Barcelona on match day 6. I don't think it's going to happen. But what a difference what a difference this makes when you can throw Ronaldo and McKennie back into this team.
How good has he been lately, McKennie?
Oh, excellent.
I'd be happy to have him and Ronaldo, both of them.
Yep. I know you're lamenting
always
as a Schalke fan.
I'll go find his jersey somewhere.
I know you're lamenting that whole situation. So, but you can cheer vicariously, I suppose.
That's right.
So.
That's right. Quietly.
Yeah, quietly. No, you don't want it getting out that you're a Juve fan now.
That's right.
Oh, mercy. Okay, so those are our thoughts on how it's looking right now for the Serie A teams. We could get all 4 through. There's still an opportunity for that. A lot of things need to happen, particularly with Inter and Atalanta.
Yep.
I mean, at a minimum, we feel really good about Lazio and Juventus. Atalanta, it's going to come down to match day 6, one way or another at Ajax. Lazio may or may not have to come down to match day 6 at home against Club Brugge, but Inter probably the toughest path, and that's just a product of being bottom of the table. Must win at home against Real Madrid. Must win at home against Shakhtar. I think that with the way how competitive that group has been, those 2 wins will be enough to get them through, probably in second position. Yeah. Any thoughts on the Europa League teams? I mean, it's early going right now. Milan have taken control of things in their group. They get to play Lille at home, which should be a bit of a tricky proposition for them. With the players that they're capable of turning out. Now, Lille, they've got some decent midfielders. This is a guy that's probably going to be chomping at the bit to get the chance to play in this game is going to be Rafael Leao. He came from there. Mm-hmm. But when we look at Lille, hang on a second. I got to get into a different screen. They're not going to be a pushover now. The one thing that did catch me by surprise, I thought they would handle Celtic.
They found it difficult, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. And they ended up settling for a draw. But when you look at this Lille team, they just came off of tying Lyon. at home. Leon ended up going down to 10 men. You look at their team, you know, Jonathan Bamba is a talent. Burak Yilmaz is starting to score some goals for them. They've got some guys capable of doing some attacking. Renato Sanchez isn't the 50 million euro player that we thought he would be. But hard to believe that was 4 years ago that,
oh my gosh, yeah.
Bayern splashed out 50. Was it Bayern that splashed out the 50 million for him? Yes. Yeah. Bayern Munich.
Yeah. You're right.
And Benjamin Andre is a tricky little midfield player. I mean, he kind of does a little bit of everything. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't excel at anything, in any category, but he does a lot of things really well. And then you got guys like Yilmaz and you got Ikone. So we'll see how they'll look coming out. We'll see how Milan look coming out too, because certainly they could stand to do some rotation now that they've got Rebic back healthy. They've got Helga back healthy.
Yeah.
Thoughts on this game?
Yeah, it should be a fairly close game. I think, for all the Europa League teams, I think they're all going to qualify through. They're all more than capable of doing it. But I think this game in particular, you would expect that Milan's going to have a strong team no matter what. They've been in fine form. You're gonna think that they're going to want to continue their unbeaten streak. So that means at least a draw, right? But they're going to have a strong team. Lille. Don't discount them. Yeah, they had a struggle against Celtic, but it's a good team. And I like you said, I think the key factor we're going to see is probably Leao getting some action and trying to prove to his old team that he there's a reason he left, because he thought he looking for greener pastures, if you will. So it'll be a fun game, I think, overall. Probably looking at a draw or a narrow win by Milan. You gotta like the depth that they have, that they can probably put out at their disposal. So it'll be a good game.
Rafael Leao, anytime goal odds is plus 162.
He's getting better and better every game
if he starts. I mean, Zlatan Ibrahimovic has the best anytime goal odds in this game at minus 135, minus 138, but that's obvious.
Yep.
And I'm looking at, and I just want to look at the alternative goal lines. I actually think there's going to be goals in this game, and seeing the over 3 sitting at 2.2 to 1, that's a bet I'd take. Yep. If I had sportsbook in Wisconsin. So, because I think that this has a chance to be somewhere in the neighborhood of a 3-1. I think Milan win this, but it's going to be in the neighborhood of a 3-1, 3-2 scoreline.
Yep.
I don't think they're going to keep Lille out.
No.
So it's
Lille's getting at least one, I think.
What's that?
Lille's going to get at least one, I think.
Oh yeah, for sure, with what they've got going forward, and I think that with the,
rotation going on, just
the defenders getting a little bit overbooked with playing time. It could be issuing. Roma against Cluj. Now, Roma's weird to me right now in this Europa League, because Fonseca completely rotates the team. He puts out Borja Mayoral under the assumption that he's still good. He's very young. I shouldn't shit on him like that. But 0-0 against CSKA Sofia doesn't inspire a whole lot of confidence. And now you got Cluj coming in, who's kind of been a little bit of a fixture in European competitions. They may not go deep into tournaments, but they're a nuisance to the people that they play.
Aren't they first in the group too?
I want to say that they are. They're on 4 points with Roma, and really ahead on goal difference because they haven't played each other yet. So it's a chance for Roma to take over top of the group, despite the fact that they've been pretty casual in their approach to this competition so far.
Yeah, and I think this is a great opportunity for them to maybe put a more stronger lineup out there, put the message out there that they're not going to mess around and try to get qualification, get the win in this game, and then they can continue with that rotation afterwards. But I think if they get the 3 points here, that'll separate them from the rest of the group, and they can relax a little bit more. If they walk away with this, a draw or even a loss, then you're going to start wondering, what are they going to focus on? Focus on Serie A, or are they going to focus on the Europa League? And so I think, they need to take this game a little bit more serious, just because the position that both teams are in. Make a statement and then be done with it and rotate as you see fit. That's probably the best scenario, I think, for Roma. But, if their A lineup is in there, you think it's an easy win. But we've seen in the past that Fonseca has put out a B, obviously B or C lineup out there, and hoping that his team can come out with some results. So we'll see.
Cyprian Deac is the influential player for Cluj. He's been there a long time too. He's also a fixture in the Romanian national team. very technical player. Going to be on all of their dead ball stuff. Certainly a guy you want to deal with. Mario Rondon up front, a striker that is capable of bagging some goals. These guys are definitely threats. Especially when you're playing Federico Fazio in these games. You have to account for them. So this will be an interesting game. I think Roma's going to win this. Because at some point, it'll be the same operation. The rotated guys are going to start. They're going to be crap, and then Dzeko's coming in, Pellegrini's coming in, and the like, and they will unfuck what the what the rotated guys have fucked. That's what's going to happen. So, for lack of a better description,
technically speaking, right?
Yeah, I'm so eloquent with my words today, aren't I? Napoli traveled to Rijeka. Ask AC Milan how hard that trip is, because that got them knocked out of the Europa League a couple of years ago.
Yep.
Napoli is madly aggravating in this Europa League so far, because they gacked one at home against an outside Alkmaar team that was just below strength because they had a COVID hit with their players. And then you see that outside Alkmaar beat this Rijeka team 4-0 on match day 2. Granted, it was in Holland. But then you see Napoli traveling to Real Sociedad and winning, which I did not see that coming.
I didn't either.
So as good as Napoli is, and as how much we revere them, Real Sociedad in Spain, Napoli going to Spain, usually that doesn't end up working out too well for the Partenopei. So they go to Rijeka. I think this is a tougher game than this is going to be a tougher game than Napoli fans are going to expect.
Yes. Yeah, Rijeka is a Slovenian champion. They're very good. Frustrating team, as much like you said with Cluj. They get under your skin and they do just enough and they get results. They knocked out Milan not too long ago, as you mentioned. It's going to be a difficult game for them. They need to take this game as serious as they took Sociedad. Sociedad was first place in La Liga at the time when they played, and I think they still are. So they need to take them as serious as they did them, because Rijeka, if you're not ready for it, they're going to get you. And I mean, Rijeka, who did they knock out in the qualification? The team that was expected to win, and they got them with a late goal.
Copenhagen. That was that own goal. That was an own goal in Copenhagen.
But they were being a pest in Copenhagen, and Copenhagen was the favorite.
If 2020 was a goal,
that was it.
That was the goal. Go and Google it. Copenhagen own goal against Rijeka.
And that's a perfect example, because Copenhagen was a favorite in that game, and Rijeka just kept being aggravating, frustrating, and they found a way to win the game. Albeit ugly, albeit 2020, they found a way. And so I think if Napoli are not focused on this game, solely on this game, they're going to find it difficult. And it could be a draw when they should be a win. So I think they need to take it for sure seriously, and then it'll be clean sailing from there. But first things first is pay attention when you go to Slovenia.
Sandro Kulenovic is the attacking threat for them. The captain for them, Franco I'm going to butcher this name. Andrijasevic. There you go, Franco Andrijasevic. And then Stjepan Lončar, something like that. But for Croatians out there, forgive me. I'm for butchering these names, but those are guys that you're probably going to want to pay some attention to when you're going out there to Croatia, as far as guys that can be, threatening to Napoli going the other way. So, so that was we got started with the European roundup. How about would you like to take it away with the match day 6?
Yeah, let's take it with match day 6. I guess I'll kick it off with the score lines here. Starting off, Crotone hosting Atalanta, who we just mentioned a few minutes ago. This game would be at Crotone. The scoring would start by the road team. Luis Muriel in the 26th minute would get the goal, put Atalanta up 1-0. Just about 8 minutes later, or 12 minutes later, I should say, Luis Muriel got his brace, made it 2-0. That lead didn't last very long. Our friend to the show, Mr. Ceane, gets a goal, makes it 2-1 going into halftime. We thought we were maybe going to be in for a few more goals in this one. Unfortunately, the goal scoring dried up in this one. Yeah. Game ends 2-1 full time. This game is a lot more difficult for Atalanta than anticipated, huh, Frank?
A lot of possession. For Atalanta in this game. You'd expect more. You'd expect him to be more ruthless and more clinical. Ruslan Malinovsky looks like he's getting it back together. He was really good.
Yeah.
He had the assist on Muriel's first goal. But yeah, a game that on another day, Atalanta probably bag 4 or 5, especially against this opponent. So,
I mean, they brought in Zapata and Ilicic at halftime, trying to search things up. It didn't really help them, but yeah, it's Crotone. They just buckled down. Cordaz, made a great save on Muriel early on in the game. And some made some big saves in the game too. But overall, I think Crotone did look far better than the scoreline, or they made Atalanta. They did very well against a team that's more than capable of cleaning house against them any other day.
Yep. I mean, it's some days it's and we'll talk about this with another team or two. It's just some days it's not going to be pretty. Just get the 3 points and get the hell out of there is all you can do. So, speaking
of not being pretty, Inter hosting Parma in this one. Parma have been struggling mightily this season. Obviously, Liverani is a name that's probably one of the hot seats for one of the first managers to possibly go this season. They would get off to a surprise start in this one. The old man Gervinho in the 46th minute gets a goal, puts Parma up 1-0 early in the second half. He would get his brace about 15 minutes later, make it 2-0 in the 62nd minute. That seemed to finally wake up Inter. Marcelo Brozovic, he would get a goal in the 66th minute to make it 2-1 at that point. Then it was nail-biting time for Interisti. They tried. They missed so many opportunities. This game was a game of missed opportunities for Inter. So many point-blank chances that they missed. It seemed like this game was destined to be a loss for all the chances that they missed. But in the 92nd minute, Ivan Perisic in the second minute of stoppage time would get the equalizer, make it 2-2. Inter walk away with a draw. I don't know if it's a deserving draw. Maybe it is, but it's a lot harder result that they came out with than it should have been.
Well, Inter dropped 2 points here.
Absolutely.
I mean, I was on Man of the Match Radio Friday with our friend Alex Dono. I'm actually, shameless plug. I'm going to appear again this Friday on Man of the Match Radio at 2:00 Eastern time. So those of you in South Florida listening to that, check me out there. Alex and I chat a little Serie A. So, we talked about this because this was game one sans Lukaku. How is it going to work? How are they going to approach it? Well, he decided to go with Perisic and Lautaro up front, which makes a ton of sense because now you can have, Perisic can operate a lot from the left, and Lautaro can be central, and then you leave that right side open for Hakimi to just dart forward and put the pressure on that side that he's known to do. So when you see that he decided on that, because throughout the week you're speculating, well, they're going to do a 3-5-1-1 where they play, Eriksen behind Lautaro, or do they stay true to their 3-5-2 and Pinamonti plays?
Yep.
And one of the things that I pointed out to Alex is said, the first game is against Parma, which is defensively they'll defensively give you every opportunity to build confidence in whatever you decide to do. So, and I mean, it was true. First half, there was no goals for either team, and Inter had 63% of the possession. They outshot Parma 9-1. Okay, so Parma catches them on the break. Beautiful goal by Gervinho in the 46th. It's in my top 5 for sure. But then the resolve. I mean, Inter just created so many chances, and I would give Sepe a lot of credit here. He made 7 big saves in this game to help Parma get the point. So, and we talked about Sassuolo being a bogey team for Inter, but you look at Parma's popped up and taken points off of Inter here and there the last couple of years as well. So
yeah, and Parma should be a bogey team for the way they're lined up. They should be a bogey team for most teams, and they had been for the last couple of years. But this year, for whatever reason, under Liverani, they find it tough, and I guess it took them an opponent that they found good success against recently to get back into their groove, so to speak. Because Gervinho looked fantastic in the game. Obviously, he got an assist from Inglese on the second goal, and in the first goal, I forget who they got the assist in that one. But they were pestering, and they had a good game plan against Inter, and nearly got away with the win there. It wasn't for the last minute tying goal by Perisic. So, you hope with this result, at least for Parma's sake, is that they continue to build off of this game and continue to go back to the way they played before previously and under De Versa, and we'll see if they can round things and save Liverani's job. But I think Inter, as much as they like that point in this one, they they need to find ways to score, especially when Lukaku isn't there. They're creating the opportunities. They had the chances. Hakimi, Gagliardini. I mean, you name it. Every player had a chance in this game to point blank to try to score goals, and they didn't get it. So they need to find some ways to get goals and instill more confidence, because I think right now it's a little bit rocky at the blue side of Milan, and they feel like maybe this the league title is starting to slip away, even though it's early on in the season.
Yeah, it's still a long way to go. I mean, case in point, and we'll talk about them in a little bit, but everybody was shitting on Juventus here.
Yeah.
But
lo and behold, look where they're at.
And asking the questions, can they win the title again and all this other stuff? Because it looks like it's a struggle under Pirlo. Juve fans are complaining. They're in third on 12 points. 4 points. And we've only played 6 games. Inter's only played 6 games. They've got 11 points. This thing is very, very early. And the top 8 or 9, maybe the top half of the table, 6 points separates first from 10th. We're a long way from figuring out what everybody is supposed to be.
Yeah.
So
outside of Sampdoria, every team in the top 10, had been there at some point last season, including Hellas. So
sure, you can say the form is holding, but you also
way early.
There's a team that might be sitting in the bottom half that could be poised to get themselves on a run. So, and there are teams in there that have the quality to do it. So
absolutely. Moving on to the next game, Bologna hosting Cagliari. This became a goal fest in this one, and we've been saying this for weeks that you freaking start Musa Barrow, good things will happen. Lo and behold, this game he gets a start in this one next to, of course, against Palacio. Palacio gets a start. Barrow starts up on the left. He had the scoring actually started by the road team. João Pedro gets a goal of the week candidate. Nice, lovely goal. Makes it 1-0 early on, and then in the 45th minute, the man we just mentioned, Musa Barrow, gets a goal of the week candidate, makes it 1-1 going into at the halftime mark. Simeone coming out of the break makes it 2-1. A nice goal for him. He's continuing to have a good start to the season. I know Cagliari fans are happy about the way he started this season to give João Pedro another scoring partner there. That lead didn't last very long. Soriano, who's had a good start to the season as well, makes it 2-2 at that point. And then again, the man we've been talking about, Musa Barrow, what a goal to make it 3-2 in the 56th minute. Bullet of a shot. They win 3-2 at home, but again, it's the Musa Barrow show. 2 goals and an assist, I believe, in this game. He does good things when he starts the games, and why he didn't start. Maybe we saw the cast on his hand. Maybe it has something to do with why he didn't start. But every time he's played for them, it seems good things have happened, come through him. He's like the string maker or string puller.
This is the performance that last week we've been screaming for out of Bologna. When we were talking about them potentially being, through the first 5 match weeks, being the biggest underachievers in the league. This is the quality that they're capable of, especially with that midfield. I think that midfield, the double pivot of Schouten and Svanberg, and then you play Orsolini, Soriano, and Barrow in front of them. That's not. It may not be the best collection in this league, but it's a setup that is going to give everybody fits when it functions properly. And here it did.
They're talented.
Yeah. Cragno had 6 saves in this game. Bologna had 9 shots on target. This could have been a blowout. This could have been a runaway for Bologna today on the way they performed.
The goalkeeping this weekend in general was phenomenal. In this game, some great things for Cragno in this game.
Yeah. Sepe was great. Cragno was great. Concili had a huge game. We'll get into that in a little bit.
Dragowski as well.
Dragowski. There was some excellent goalkeeping. As that seems to happen from time to time now in Serie A. There's a lot of quality, talented goalkeepers. So much so that Alfred Gomes is playing Champions League football with Rennes. Didn't go so well for him today, but anyway. And after he was with Spal. Palacio. You can look at this and you look at all that quality in those 5 players, and then you put Palacio up front. And then, one of the things that when I watched this game is I wanted to pay attention and say, what does Mihailovic see in this guy? And he's just a guy that has tons of experience. He's not going to be a guy that is going to pop up for a ton of goals anymore.
No.
But the one thing that impresses me when I watch him play is, he he knows that the guys behind him have talent and they have technique, and he lets them play, and he figures out where can he get in positions to help them get in position to do something next. When you see him with his passing, when you see how he plays those guys, he puts them in position to do something with their technique and do something quickly.
It sounds very familiar to a team that's near and dear to us. An older player, letting the younger players do their thing and setting them up for success.
Yeah.
We're not comparing the two levels of the two older gentlemen by any means, but
no,
right.
the other one scores goals. That's the difference.
Exactly.
So he gets into higher positions. He gets the ball. He stays out of the way of those guys, lets them operate. And when he gets the ball, he plays them into positions where they can be dangerous. He doesn't get a lot of assists either. I mean, if we talked about like secondary, if they actually counted secondary assists, they do that in MLS, which is kind of silly. But if they because they think it's hockey. But if they did secondary assists in Serie A, I'd have to wager that Palacio would have a fair amount of them over the time he's been at Bologna.
Yeah, I agree. Between that and poaching goals, he's probably up there on both.
Sure.
The intelligence he has to not only see a play develop and get that first pass to get to the assist, or just find the open area so know where a shot's going to come from, get that rebound and get a goal. Boom, done.
He's an old Nuno Gomez.
Yeah,
he's an old poor man's Nuno Gomez. Yeah. When you talk about the 2000 Portugal team at the Euros, when they had Figo and João Pinto and Rui Costa, team. And Nuno Gomez is just to stay up there and stay up there and just be on the end of everything.
Yep. Put it in, poach it in. That's it.
Yep.
And he does it.
Yep. So it's kind of like that.
Yeah, I know it absolutely is. All right, so and then moving on, Udinese, a game we knew it was gonna be tough going into this. We talked about this with Steve Polillo. Udinese hosting Milan, and this one is certainly an interesting game. We knew it was gonna be tough the whole way through. Scoring started in the 18th minute. Zlatan Ibrahimovic takes a pass, receives it off his chest, holds it up very nicely, finds a streaking Kessie who comes in the box and just bullets a shot up the top corner. Goal of the week candidate there in the 18th minute. 1-0 for Milan at that point. They would take that lead into halftime, but coming out of the break, a man who's found it rough going to start the season, Alessio Romagnoli, he takes down his man in the box. To me, stupid play by Romagnoli leads to the penalty for Rodrigo De Paul, who steps up and scores a goal. Before we move on that, you okay with the call penalty?
I am 50-50. I've seen that get called. I've seen that let go because he got the ball.
Yeah, I mean, he was too aggressive on his body to body, shoulder to shoulder. I was fine with that call.
Yeah, it was. I've seen it let go too. So keep on, great work, man. I am rooting for you guys. Very nice of you, Stephanus. Thank you, and thank you for joining us.
I think
it's his first appearance. We should give caps to our chat.
We should. Oh my gosh.
So we've been doing that for our guests. Maybe we should have like a caps for the chat so that we can keep track, and maybe that'll keep to keep them coming back and everything. So, but
with that, going back to that penalty, I think ultimately you knew Rodrigo De Paul was going to step up to score. I mean, he's our best player. You knew he was going to score a goal no matter who the goalie is, and he did get that goal, makes it 1-1 at that point. And the game went back and forth. Some great opportunities of both teams, especially Milan. In this game, obviously they're going to have more possession in this game. Though, it came down to the wire. 83rd minute, though, we see a play. Rebic obviously getting involved. He's back on the team. A ball comes in, and Zlatan doing Zlatan things, even at the ripe old age of 39, finds a way to do a bicycle, I guess you want to call it. Goal of the week candidate there, the old man. Very surprising. I pulled my back watching him do that, Frank. 2-1, Milan get the win literally on the back of Zlatan Ibrahimovic, goal and assist in this game. Another big game by the man, Big Swede.
Yep. He has 7 goals here in Serie A, and Great. He's the Capocannonieri leader.
Your pick, right? Your pick? No,
I picked Lukaku. I've got to be honest on that one. And as I have no problem seeing Ibrahimovic at the top of it. The Capocannonieri leader is 39 years old. That's incredible. More impressive performance. Another impressive performance from Simon Kjaer. In this game, Çalhanoğlu was decent, not spectacular. Obviously, Kessie getting in and getting the goal.
Great goal.
You know, it was nice to see as a Milan fan, and how could you tell with a background? It was nice to see Teo Hernandez getting back to the attacking instincts.
Yes.
I think it was an area where he had really struggled. I thought he played great in this game. This has probably been his best game up to date.
What's that old adage we grew up with? Keep it simple, stupid. You know?
Yeah.
I think that's what he finally got back to, and it's keep it simple and do what you're good at, and he got back to it.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this though when in the derby. I think that he looked so poor offensively because he had to do so much defending with Hakimi putting so much pressure on him that when he got forward, his technique just got sloppy.
He's out of energy at that point, I guess.
Right. There was definitely more purpose to him in this game. I think a lot of it had to do with Udinese allowed it, but if that's good players do. If they're gonna let you come forward, you're gonna take the opportunity. So yeah. I mean, I made the comment here that this had previously been a fixture for Milan that was a draw, or they found a way to lose it. I think under Giampaolo they did lose it. You know what didn't they lose under Giampaolo? So. You know, this is the sign of a good team when it's not going well or it's not going the way you had hoped, and you got to grind and you've got to find a way to win a game. Good teams do this. This is how title-winning campaigns get built. That when you look back and you're going to look back, those were 3 important points that could have just been 1 point.
This is how Juve has won so many titles in a row.
Exactly. And I am not, I'll say like. What I'll say on what I said on Man of the Match radio. Scudetto through 5 games now, 6 games. Scudetto is not the aim for Milan. I mean, it's going to be the aim for a lot of Milan fans. If Stevie was here, he would tell you Scudetto is the aim every damn year, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But for me, being practical, top 4, regardless of where you finish in the top 4 is the goal to get back to the Champions League and get that Champions League revenue back.
Yep.
And these are the kind of results that you need to bolster your prospects of achieving your goals and achieving a top 4 finish.
That's right. And we're speaking about a team that knows how to win. Last of my batch, Spezia hosting the current champions, the reigning champions, Juventus. This game you would see the return of Ronaldo. That would be in the second half, though. The game would start with Morata, Mr. Offsides. Early in the 14th minute, we see a lovely play by Juventus. McKennie gets one-on-one with the goalie and decides to pass to Morata. Goal scored. We're looking for the flag. It was called offsides, but they went to VAR, and the goal stands unbelievably. That's the first goal he scored onside in a while.
Yeah, he was on.
He was onside. Minutes later, he would score again, and that was offsides. So we're back to Alvaro Morata. But 2-0 at that point, or 1-0 at that point, excuse me. Pobega did make it 1-1 the 32nd minute, and you had Juventus fans worried just a slight bit. But fortunately for them, their man came back in the second half, Cristiano Ronaldo. And as he's back, the goal scoring is back. He would score a goal in the 59th minute. Nice pass to Morata, make it 2-1 at that point. Just a few minutes later after that, Rabiot would decide not to pass to Morata, figuring he was offsides, kept the ball, and then scored for himself, made it 3-1 at that point. And then in the 76th minute, there was a penalty. Chiesa taken down in the box. And, of course, Ronaldo's going to step up. He gets his brace. 4-1 Juventus win. Ronaldo's back. McKennie's back. All things okay now with Juve now that those two are back?
No, I mean, this is why I've been saying Juve fans don't panic. It's way too early. Yeah. You're going to get Ronaldo. It's not like Ronaldo is gone for a long-term injury. It's not like McKennie was gone for a long-term injury. It was COVID, and they had to sit out. And
by the way, De Ligt and Sandro are back very soon as well. So
right, you're going to get everybody back, and you're in a phase right now where you're working on a lot of new players. Pirlo's trying to figure this out on the fly, and be over time this is going to get better and better for Juventus. Now, Carlo Garganese was singing the praises of the combination of Ronaldo and Morata today with their Champions League performance against Ferencváros. And then obviously that was evident here and justifiably so. I've gone from worrying about Juventus trying to jam Morata in to realizing that he's pretty damn valuable, and he's scoring a lot of goals, offside or not.
That has to be said. Yeah, he's finding the back of the net, regardless if it's offside or not, and that's only a good sign because as someone who keeps doing that, is bound to the luck is bound to go their way and start scoring more. And he's been, some people pointed on Twitter, he's been one of the better players this season. Minus the offsides. So yeah, it's finally starting to work out for Pirlo, and obviously having Ronaldo at your side is going to help anybody, right? Make us look better. So yeah, that combination is starting to work, and maybe they're finding their main lineup under Pirlo. It's still early to tell, but
yeah. I'm an admirer of Dejan Kulusevski's game, which is why I was rooting for a Kulusevski-Ronaldo combination up front. But Pirlo's figuring this out. He's got a lot of talent. This is a more talented team than Sarri had. When you just take a look at the players up and down. The one thing that, while Carlo is beaming about how Ronaldo and Morata have worked together, let's remember that they've worked together over a period of 125 minutes against Spezia and Ferencváros. Can they do this against someone a little more rigid? Okay. Where the spaces aren't going to be there and things like that. That's where I'll really be impressed. I mean, I certainly like what I saw. You got to beat the team. You can only deal with what's in front of you at the moment, and I understand that. But it's the same thing when I did the Napoli theory with Osimhen and the way they got off to a start. I said, can they do this against somebody that's going to give them a little bit more of a challenge? So, we got to ask the same questions of this combination for Juve. On talent and potential, they should.
Yes.
Okay, but we need to see it. So, so I like it. I'm with what Carlos said, but I'm going to go slow on this.
And again, we talked about those two playing very well. And I talked about this in the Champions League section. I thought McKennie played very well in this game. He had a great opportunity to go on goal, one-on-one with the goalie, and he smartly passed it off his teammate. He knows that if his striker gets hot, the team's going to get hot. And he's a great play by him. He's playing really well for Juventus. I'm very surprised in how he's played, and obviously not him. Also, Arthur is playing very well for them at the moment too. And I think Pirlo is starting to find what pieces go where, what works, what doesn't. I'm still questioning some of his starting 11, like Frabotta every now and then, and Chiesa at wingback. But I think for the most part, he's figuring things out. He's still trying to figure out where Chiesa fits and other guys, but he has the pieces, and he's got to put them in the right position. I think he's starting to get it.
And we've seen this from Juve teams in the past at this stage of the season. They're going to be very comfortable with dropping points at this stage of the season as a product of trying to figure out who they are for the long term. For the stretch haul. And then they're so good at recovering and getting on big runs to work their way back to the top of the table. So I still think they're the favorites to win this thing. And I think that this project's going to get better as the season goes on. So I don't know if this is going to translate to European success, but certainly Serie A, I think is theirs to lose again. So moving on, I now anoint Torino as the new fun bad team of Serie A on the Serie A sit down, because coming into this game against Lazio, there had been 17 goals in their last 3 games. Wow. And Torino against Lazio, if you were a neutral and decided to turn this on instead of the Spezia Juventus game, you knew you weren't going to be let down because, well, it's Torino. They're so capable of scoring goals going forward, but they're so god-awful defensively at the same time.
My goodness.
And that was evidenced as Pereira, opportunistic Lazio yet again, after just some good pressure. Torino coughing up the ball, and he finishes in the 15th minute. That put Lazio ahead 1-0, but that lead would be short-lived as Bremer comes through in a set-piece situation in the 19th minute to level the scoring at 1-1. Just 6 minutes later, a penalty. Andrea Bellotti converts that to put Torino up 2-1 at halftime. But remember, this is Torino. This game's not over. Sergej Milinkovic-Savic in the 48th minute, leveling the score. And that's all the scoring we would see until the 87th minute. Sasa Lukic, which would actually be his second goal in 3 games. And midweek here against Genoa, he would score yet again. So he's getting
hot.
He's getting hot and he's getting among the goals. And he seems to have found a niche playing for Giampaolo. Puts Torino ahead in the 87th minute, but drama. There was an additional time of 5 minutes. Lo and behold, a penalty is awarded after a VAR review. Were you okay with this penalty being called?
I was. I thought it was more clear cut for me than the first penalty that Belotti got the goal on. I thought, sure, timing. You'll question that at times, but I think it was more of a penalty for sure.
Okay. Ciro Immobile converts that in the 95th minute when the game was supposed to end at 3-3, but somehow there's more minutes because of all of the VAR review and the checks and all of that other stuff. Plenty of time for Torino to fully screw this up. And Felipe Caicedo in the 98th minute wins this for Lazio. I think I've said enough about Torino. They're fun bad. Their games are going to have multiple goals for as long as we can tolerate it. Lazio. I mean, we talked about the job that Simone Inzaghi has done in the Champions League, and it's very, very commendable with what he's had to work through.
Yep.
However, I am extraordinarily, if I'm a Lazio supporter in terms of the league, I am extraordinarily worried because I think that this is a Lazio team that is living on taking advantage of opportunities now. And I'm struggling with this because last season, what you see was, when Lazio made this run last season to earn a Champions League place, they just went out and flat out feasted on the bottom half teams, and they just dominated them. Here, this is another team that you would think last season they dominate, but they're just eking things out and finding ways to win in a lot of these situations. And this is a pretty dangerous game to play if you're talking about trying to get back into the Champions League next season or even any kind of European qualification.
I agree. I would agree with you 9 times out of 10 with any other club. I think with Lazio, and I think I brought this point up last week or the week before, is that last year, as you mentioned, they coasted. I mean, the teams that they're supposed to beat, they beat handedly. They didn't face really much adversity, and when it came down to the wire at the end of the season, they capitulated. They couldn't play every 3 days. Granted, most of that was probably depth, but I think they need a little adversity in their lives and finding ways to overcome that. Like we've talked about Juventus, how they've been so good for so many years, is they found ways. It's not always been pretty, and they found ways. The scary part for me, if I was a Laziale, is that they're giving up so many goals. They're giving up goals by the bunches, but they've also been very resourceful in finding ways to win, whether it's been in Champions League or in the league itself. They're finding ways to win, which is good. So I'm on the edge about this because I don't like the goals that go in, but I like that they're finding ways to win as well. So adversity is good, but they are playing with house money at the point right now. And if this continues, it's not going to be, like you mentioned, a good thing when you're trying to get to a European spot or Champions League spot, what have you. But I do like the adversity part for them for sure, because they have been missing that last season. And I think they need that. Yep.
I think you would feel a little bit better if they get into some of these games against these more of these bottom half teams.
Yeah.
That you might see, some more resolve. I think in another way to look at this, Lazio haven't had the ability to, they have not played, they haven't had a chance to play a Spezia or a Crotone yet.
Yeah.
Teams that they're going to just walk through.
Yep.
Okay. They beat Cagliari. They drew Benevento on the opening day. Is that September 19th? Yeah, that was the opening day of the season. And then they get drilled by Atalanta. They drew Inter. They get blown away by Sampdoria, who, that loss doesn't look as bad now. They beat a Bologna team that is still a handful, and then they obviously got the Champions League results. So, they're going to play Juve on Sunday. And they better sharpen up, because I don't think that this is a game that they're going to win on seizing opportunities.
No. And I think you're going to hear lots of Lazio say, well, we rotated the lineup. We had Moriki start and had some other guys that don't normally start play. That's true. But I think you need to start getting things right, especially when you're playing a team like Juventus, where you're not going to have those opportunities as you had. I mean, they feasted on them in the past, but it's different by both teams. Both teams are different places than they were in the past.
They've been struggling. They've been struggling when they played their best lineup.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I mean, it isn't something just because they're, shorthanded and all this other stuff. This is not new. They struggled to beat Benevento. They didn't beat them. They drew them.
Yeah.
They lose at Sampdoria. That was a game, last season, that fixture, they won 3-0. This year they lost it 3-0. So, so it is a little different for them. And right now, and I think a lot of it's maybe the process of having to play in the Champions League being thrown in. But that shouldn't be an excuse. They were in the Europa League last year, and Inzaghi had to figure out how to rotate. Maybe the fixtures were a little bit more spread out than they are now. But yeah, I think if we want to take Lazio seriously as being somebody that's going to be in the European picture again for next season, they're going to have to get back to their comfortable winning selves against the kind of competition that they should take advantage of. So, and Torino being one of them. So they shouldn't have to leave it late to get 3 points against Torino. So Napoli Sassuolo, I think for some, when you look at it on paper, it's going to be the surprise of the week. For the casual Serie A fan, it was going to be the surprise of the week.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you listen to Serie A Sit Down, this shouldn't surprise you at all.
Correct.
Because we've been very, very high on Sassuolo from the beginning. And they go on to win this game 2-0. It was a Locatelli penalty in the 59th minute. Napoli trying to press, trying to get something out of the game. And if I look at the second half stats, they were a lot more even. First half,
it was all Napoli early in the first half.
On shots and on shots on target, yeah, but Sassuolo had a lot of the ball. I mean, the way this game was approaching, Napoli was more than okay with letting Sassuolo do their pinging around in certain areas of the pitch, but once it squeezed and got forward, that's where they did their work, won the ball, and just tried to spring it forward.
Oh, by the way, Sassuolo were missing the three best players, Caputo, Berardi, and Juricic through I don't know if it was COVID or injuries or whatever. But
I was going to say, did they have a COVID issue? I never read about that.
It was either injuries or COVID. I don't know what it was, but the three best players were not playing in that game. They still found a way to win. I think this was a very classic chess match. I think Michael Lisi probably jinxed this match, saying, "Oh, what are the chances it's going to be a 0-0 game?" And it was 0-0 for a while. But I thought that the Zerbi in this one outmanaged Gattuso. As much as we gave credit for Gattuso outmanaging Gasparini early in the season when Napoli just hammered Atalanta, I thought the Zerbi did a good job of being a pain in the ass for Napoli. And Napoli had their chances, and then there's a great opportunity where Consigli gives the ball away to Osimhen, and Osimhen probably should have scored that goal. Yeah, but Consigli had a pretty good game as well. And I thought
Consigli just didn't get a proper warm up before the game.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it was.
They decided, here you go, Victor. Take this. I'm going to save it,
and then we're good.
But yeah, so and he was like, "All right, now I'm ready."
Yeah. But I thought Sassuolo attacked this game very well, and they were given the opportunity to hold possession, like you mentioned. And they're a good team. We've said it from the beginning, and it doesn't matter if they don't have their best players there. They still play the same way. De Zerbi had the guys ready tactically, and they took their chances. I thought initially when that penalty happened, when what's his name goes down in the box, that it was a dive, but then when I saw the replay, it was a penalty to me. And then obviously the capper with Maxime Lopez getting that goal at the end. It's a great win by Sassuolo, and we've been saying that they're a difficult team. They're a team that knows how to defend now. They still can be fun bad at times, but you expected them to be more disciplined, especially with their best players out of the game, and they found a way. Great result for them.
Yeah, I mean, it was Lopez coming in on a late goal there to seal it for Sassuolo. I mean,
yeah,
this is the kind of game that tells you that Sassuolo are here and they're going to be a thing. They're going to ruin the traditional top seven that we've come to know. Someone is getting their season ruined. I think it's going to be Lazio now. Before the season thought it would be Roma.
Yeah.
but they're here. They're a thing. They don't have the European competitions to be distracted by. They can focus solely on this competition. If they want to punt the Coppa Italia, they could. We'll see if De Zerbi does. But and that they would win this game without Berardi, without Juricic, and without Caputo, who have all been dynamic and outstanding. I mean, this is a very, very impressive performance. It's a very impressive advert of De Zerbi's credentials as a manager too.
This is why many people have been clamoring for him to be the next person in line to take over the Azzurri job when and if Mancini steps down from that role, which is going to be a while from now. But that's what they're all clamoring for, because the way he plays, the style of play, he obviously has the tactical ability. He just needed the players, up until now, and he didn't have it until he got to Sassuolo, and he kind of molded them into them because they were never really this good before. He kind of they instilled the confidence in them. Obviously, having a guy like Caputo helps. But Berardi, he's back to where there's all this hype when he was younger, and everyone's like, oh, he's going to Juventus or he's going whatever, and he's going to be the great player, and never really panned out. But now under De Zerbi, he's coming to his own again. He's one of the best players, and that's why he got called up to Azzurri as well, because of the performances under De Zerbi. And so full credit's got to go to the manager on this one, the way he got them ready. And Locatelli's coming to his own. He got to wear the captain's armband in this one. He's an underrated tackler. He made some fantastic tackles in this game.
Yep.
I thought he was one of the best players in this and on the pitch for both teams. And yeah, it's a credit to the manager, De Zerbi, coaching these guys up and making them reach their potential.
Yeah, I thought Locatelli was terrific. I was curious to see. And then it's also the tactical flexibility, because you've seen a lot of 4-3-3 with De Zerbi. He went to a three-man defense in this game.
Yeah.
He went with Zhiyun, Kirikez, and Ferrari, where Mulder and Rogerio were on the wingback position. We're in the wingback position.
Rogerio was dangerous in this one.
Oh, Rogerio was terrific. He was terrific in this game, no doubt about it. Yeah, I mean, he's not only is he winning with this, he's showing flexibility with his personnel to get it right and to go out and get it. This is a damn dangerous team. I don't think they're a Scudetto winner. Don't get me wrong. I think there will be a dip in form from them coming at some point, but this is a Europa League contender, and it's going to stick at the rate it's going.
Let's stick on that thread, but jump on over to Napoli's side. Does this make them any less of a Scudetto contender, losing a game like this to a team that wasn't at full strength?
I'll tell you this: between this and then the giveaway against AZ Alkmaar in Europa League, is there a team that in Serie A that misses their home atmosphere more than Napoli does?
Yeah, I don't think there is, and it's evident by those games, like you mentioned. When they're on, they are one of the best in Europe, probably when they're on. But they have these blips where you're just like, "What are you thinking?" In this game, granted, we knew it was going to be difficult. We knew that Sassuolo was going to pose a threat. But the AZ Alkmaar game, it, like, scratch your head. You're like, you had the advantage in that game. You should have won that game. You didn't. There's other games we saw in Serie A where they probably should have won and they didn't. I'm going to say it's just a one-off for them, and it's still early in the season. Sassuolo are obviously better than most people think, but these kind of blips don't allow you to win Scudettos, especially when you see teams consistent like Juventus who find ways to win, even when they're not at their best, or get a draw. They don't lose often, and Napoli still have to find it under Gattuso, find ways to eke out and get resources, and they're really good. But they have, they got to find ways in games like this where the stakes are a little bit higher. Sure,
no doubt about it. So we'll have to, see if they can rebound. Napoli, they're going to have to rebound pretty quickly here to try to get back on their feet and get things going. Roma beating Fiorentina 2-0. Spinazzola in the 12th, Pedro in the 70th. Fiorentina getting the lion's share of the possession in this game, not doing a whole lot with it. Dragowski, as you mentioned, made some pretty good saves to keep this from being more than two. Lorenzo Pellegrini was very good in this game.
Spinazzola was very good.
Starting to take, Spinazzola turned up and finally played a good game for Roma as well. Roma, I'm still, is this a product of Roma just being able to find a way to get this done here? I mean, or is Fiorentina, is there issues here? Is there a lack of belief now? I mean, they're 11th. Let's not get let's not treat it like the sky is falling with them, because they just got done beating Udinese. They,
Good
they're
win.
getting, and they've been in some fights here. But it also, at the same time, they're on 7 points with the schedule not being terribly flattering. I mean, they beat Udinese, which is good.
Yeah.
They drew Spezia, so they, which some people could consider drop points. I mean, at the beginning of the season, they lose at home to Sampdoria at a time where Sampdoria probably didn't have the house in order for them like they do now.
Yeah.
They do get that narrow win against Fiorentina. They dropped points against Inter. It was just an absolute calamity by Iachini taking out his best players at the time. Let's not forget that Federico Chiesa was a Fiorentina player when that game happened. So, I mean, Comiso is sticking with them, which is, I'm worried. I think that's probably about the best way I can describe it.
And I've seen many, Chloe and many other people have said, it'd be interesting. We've even said it here. It would be interesting to see what Sarri would do with the team, like this, right? Especially with the players that he would have at his disposal, but he doesn't. And Comiso's sticking with Iachini right now, and there was a good game against Udinese last week, and you gotta keep a grain of salt there that Roma, their midfield is actually pretty darn good. They're very good at possession. Having the guys Pedro Mkhitaryan pulling the strings for the team. And obviously with Spinazzola and Karlsruhe on the wing backs, they're a decent team in the midfield areas. So it's always going to be difficult, but still, they should be doing so much more. I mean, we mentioned Vlahovic has been so underperforming this season. Castrovilli's is having a good season, but he can't do it alone. The team, I think, is better off now without Chiesa because they're not so him dependent, and they can really play as a team now. But in a game like this, thank God they have Dragowski back there to keep him in the games, because if they didn't, they'd probably get obliterated a lot more. And they need him to keep this goalkeeper happy, because some of these youngsters happy, because if they don't, they may start jumping ship like Chiesa did, and then they're going to be again struggling at the bottom of the table. And I think holding on to Iachini much longer is just going to be a bad thing for Fiorentina. And I think Comiso finally needs to just come out and be like, okay, I'm done with you. Yeah, maybe it takes another bad result for that to happen, and then move on, and hopefully try to get someone like Sarri or somebody who can help use the resources that they do have and get them to that potential. Because we've been saying it for how many damn years now that there's talent there, but they just can't. They're underperforming. I'm sick and tired of saying this, and I'm not even a Viola fan. I can't imagine what they're thinking.
Let me read you what a team lineup would look like under Maurizio Sarri with the current Fiorentina outfit, and let me tell me what you think.
All right.
First of all, let me read you the lineup that Iachini came out with against Fiorentina. Dragowski in goal, 3-man defense, Lucas Martinez, who got sent off, Nikola Milenkovic and Martin Cáceres, Polirola right wing back, Biraghi left wing back, midfield three of Castrovilli, Amrabat, and Bonaventura, Ribery and Callejon up front. Now let me propose a 4-3-3 under Sarri. Right back Polirola. Center backs Milenkovic and Cáceres, left back Biraghi, midfield three of Amrabat, Castrovilli, and Bonaventura, and then a front three of Ribery, Vlahovic, and Callejon.
That should be easily a top 10 lineup.
Yep.
Or definitely a top 10. Maybe not the top 10, but in the top 10. That's a good lineup.
Yep.
I mean, when Ribery is healthy, he's going to do fantastic. Vlahovic, we saw it last year, did very well for them. Castrovilli is coming to his own. I mean, that's a good team.
Yeah.
You got Milenkovic back there, Dragowski in goal. That's a good team. They should be, perennial top 10 team. They should be. Is
Amrabat a deep-lying playmaker, though? Can you jam him into being that in that setup?
No, I mean, depends on his ability. I haven't really seen him playing in the Regista type role or deep line playmaker role. Perhaps he could do it, but that's not where his skill set is. He's more of an attacking type midfielder. That's where he's most dangerous.
Yep.
But you never know. We've seen it. We've seen many other teams in the past in Serie A or other leagues where they took a player which we thought was an attacking player, put him in the deep line playmaker, and he's been fantastic.
Sure.
Andrea Pirlo. So who knows? But I would rather take that chance than keep him off. I'd rather have him on the pitch than off the pitch. That's just me. But that's a fantastic lineup to have, and I would love it if I was the manager to have that kind of style. But yeah, Ceane, doesn't matter if you probably give him Ronaldo, and he'd probably still fail.
I mean, because you got Callejon and Ribery up front together. It's just there's going to be a lot of running. There's going to be a lot. I mean, and they're going to just by nature just do a lot of service. I mean, I think Ribery might try to create his own shot. I don't know if Callejon really can't do that.
No, he'll set him up.
It's almost like you need a striker in there with them to let them play off a little bit.
What if you had Jack? He's not really done it, but what if Jack plays a deep line playmaker and give Amrabat the chance to go up? I don't think
his skill set fits that.
He doesn't have the pace anymore to
Well, I mean, if he doesn't have any pace anymore, then sit him in front of the back four.
Yeah.
And let Amrabat and Castrovilli do the chasing.
Yeah.
I mean, but you'd have to break a lot of habits that Bonaventura has when he plays the game. So
that's true. And I wonder if, looking at their bench to see if they have somebody that could just fit in there. I mean, obviously you got a Christian Kwame come off the bench and Saponara, obviously, but in that midfield, I don't know. I mean, could Eric Pulgar do it?
Pulgar could definitely do it.
So maybe you want to have him instead of Bonaventura out there and put Amrabat in an attacking position. That might be a better fit. And then you could have Pulgar.
You could have Pulgar in that deep lying role, in that Jorginho role, and you could have him flanked by Castrovilli and Amrabat. That would be pretty damn sick.
And you got a free kick specialist out there with Ribéry. So
sure,
that's a pretty good lineup.
Sure. Just trying to help Fiorentina fans get a picture painted of what it could look like, if, and we stress if, Saudi, were to ever take over down the road.
Rocco Camito, give us a call. We'll help you out.
Yes. So, we can put a lineup together here for Fiorentina that could help there. So moving on, we have and usually we like to give on Serie Sitdown over the years. We've given this a lot more attention than we used to, but with the lack of spectators at games now,
and must have been struggling.
This is one of those fixtures that just absolutely gets killed by the lack of spectators. The Derby della Lanterna, it's a spectacle. It draws casual calcio neutrals. It really does. The Marassi, when it is packed, it's a sight to behold. I've gone on to call the Marassi Stadium eye candy. It just looks like
it's one of the best.
It looks like one of the more pleasing places to watch a game.
Yeah,
on television.
Our friends over at IFTV, they went there a few years ago to watch a game there, and they had lots of fun over there. They raved about how great that stadium was, and so that's on my bucket list to go to that derby for sure. And this game was a good game. I mean, there was no fans there, unfortunately, but I liked the game. I thought it was a good competitive game.
Very balanced game, very competitive game, and a game that produced only 2 goals, but both are going to be goal of the week candidates. Sampdoria and Genoa playing to a 1-1 draw. Jakob Jankto, beautiful curler there in the 23rd. And then Gianluca Scamacca, break this kid out. Because I'll tell you what,
player.
I'm impressed. Is it to the point where he could save Genoa from the drop? We'll see. But this kid's got some skill to him. Just instinctive to be able to get that ball, run with it, and just quick first-time finish.
Yes.
In the 28th minute to square the match. It ends 1-1 there. We've been singing the praises of Sampdoria here under Ranieri, but Genoa looked competitive in this game. Maybe it was the nature of having to play the derby, but they produced chances. They didn't give up much. And it's not like, Sampdoria brought out their best team. But now we're starting to talk about some guys that are, 75-year-old Goran Pandev was out there. But Crescito's back for them. Ziyech, who was with Brescia last season, playmaking midfielder. He's decent. Okay. He can help you. Lehrer has had he's been hot and cold in this league.
Yeah.
Bedell has a ton of experience, and this Nicolo Rovella, young player, looked pretty promising too.
Played well.
Played really well in this game. So this is a better Genoa than anything they've put out so far this season, and it had a lot to do with them getting this point.
Yeah, it's funny. Gianluca Scamacca reminds me of another Gianluca Lapadula. being able to find and create his own shot, and he's in the right place in the right time. Hopefully, he has more goals in him than Lapadula. But I thought this was a good performance by Genoa. They obviously stepped up. I was worried too going into this game that Sampdoria was just going to run right on them, but it was a derby, and for most derbies around the world, teams, they doesn't matter the form. As we talked about the Derby Milan or earlier a couple weeks ago, both teams, doesn't matter the form, they step up and they play well. And in this game, we saw Genoa really play a good game overall. I was quietly impressed with them. I thought it's good back and forth, very entertaining game. They went down early to the Arjen Robben-esque goal by Yankto, but they found a way. And then Scamacca in the 28th minute with a nice goal, like you mentioned, just find a way to quick turn and get that shot off. He definitely had the goalie, wasn't ready for it, absolutely. And then I thought they had some opportunities throughout the game to get the winner, and they didn't. But overall, guys like Rovella, really, really impressed. And I do like this Scamacca kid, and maybe not so much the neck tattoos, but I think he's a good player overall.
Yeah. Came over from he played at Ascoli last year, and played 33 games, started 26, only 9 goals. I mean, there's nothing here from his stats from last year playing with Ascoli showing you that he's this good, but
they need that fight and attack. They need that kind of player.
But he's kind of found his way in here. And he, I'll just get quickly because Genoa and Torino did make up their game midweek. I know I got one more game I got to get to, and Torino won that at Genoa 2-1. That's where Lukic did score again. Pellegrini had an own goal in that game, and then Scamacca actually scored in the 94th minute. So he has 2 goals in 3 appearances right off the bat. So given the fact that at Ascoli in 33 games he only scored 9 times, this will normalize. But
sure,
there's a lot to like about him, because I think not only does he scores, he poaches and does those things like that, but he has also set players up. He's created some chances. He's not afraid to get into wider areas and deliver crosses. So he's a young kid that's got some tools here that I think we should pay some attention here.
And he's decent in the air too. So that's another set piece person you can worry about for Genoa. So there's all signs are indicating that they're going to start performing better than they had to start the season. Are they at Sampdoria's level? Not so sure yet, but the season's still young. My hope is that I did have Genoa placing higher than Sampdoria, which I look like an idiot at the moment. But who knows? I didn't expect this to happen either. So we'll see how it runs out. But good for them. They need to have some fight, because we don't want to see either Genovese club, either Latin club drop this year.
Yeah, keep both Genovese clubs up, if we can pull it off. And then it all finished Monday. Hellas Verona 3, Benevento 1. Antonin Barak with a goal of the week candidate in the 17th minute. Nice little back heel. Yeah, clever. You know what? I'm very high on Mattia Zaccagni, by the way.
Yeah, he's a good player.
He's a nice little player, and he created this and got the ball across. So 17th minute for him. You mentioned Gianluca Lapadula. He scores. Did I just lose you?
No, I'm here. I just lost the camera.
You just lost your camera. Okay. Lapadula scores in the 56th minute to make it 1-1. But then it would be Antonin Barak outside of the left foot. Beautiful curler. Another goal of the week candidate. 63rd minute. Where has this guy been? And why would Udinese let him go? Putting Hellas Verona ahead by 2-1. And then it would be Lauzovic finishing the scoring 3-1 to Hellas Verona. So much for this letdown with Hellas Verona.
Yeah, and it's great to see Antonin Barak. Really, we've been high on him for a while, even back to his Udinese days. We saw the talent there. He just couldn't get it together. And now this game obviously is just a one-off, but a great game by him. Some great goals. Obviously, he's trying to mirror my hairstyle. But that regardless, some beautiful goals today. He's a big man who's got the skill set of a smaller man, and he's good in the air as well. He has that potential to be a catalyst for them this season, and hopefully they can continue on this form, because Hellas, we thought were going to be a little bit weaker this year, but they're starting to find their way again. They're finding ways defensively and scoring goals, which is only going to be difficult for the rest of Serie A.
Well, Juric has just reshuffled the deck here. He had some losses. He dealt with them. Kumbula went to Roma. You've got Amrabat now at Fiorentina. and they bring in Temeze, Barak. They
Great
bring
play.
in,
Yep.
DiMarco. Ceane comes over, and then they patch this together and they go again. They for whatever reason they bring in Nikola Kalinic, and I think that Juric is Croatian, Kalinic is Croatian, and that's the only explanation for why Nikola Kalinic is in this team. But when you take a look at what they've put together, it's not too much of a departure from what they were personnel wise last year. So why not, be at this level?
I think it just took him a few games to figure out where those pieces are going to go for Juric, and I think he's starting to get it. DiMarco, 2 assists in this game, 1 to Barak and 1 to Lazovic in this game. Obviously, Lazovic is a decent player. They got some good pieces here. They lost some big players last year, but they, like you said, they're reshuffled and put new guys in the slots, and then off they go. It's good. It's good for Hellas because they, once their fans come back, I mean, they got a great fan base, but obviously with no fans, they still find ways to win. I'm just impressed by the job Juric has done over the last couple of seasons, and I think Hellas is going to be here to stay in terms of being a pain in the ass to everyone else in the league. And if you don't come ready, they're going to get wins like this and 3-1 and good performance. Hopefully, we get to, last year we saw some Kambula and some other players get the acclaim. This year, you're going to have a couple other guys, get the acclaim. AMRA was one last year. Now it's going to be somebody else. Maybe Antonin Barak finally gets the limelight.
The only thing that, the commendable thing here, they beat Roma 3-0 to start the season. But then you look at the rest of their schedule: 1-0 over Udinese, 0-0 against Genoa, which you got to get 3 points somehow. They gacked it at Parma. They gacked it away at Parma, losing 1-0. But they do go and win or draw at Juve, a less than full strength Juve, 1-1, mind you, and then winning against Benevento. So now they go to Milan
tough game
on Sunday, and then that's going to be, I think that's a tough game for both teams.
It is,
really, if I'm being honest, because Milan obviously with the run that they have been on, but Verona play the kind of game that could really, really agitate this Milan side. So this could be one of those. You got Atalanta playing Inter on Saturday. You got Lazio Juve on Sunday. This Milan Verona game is going to be under the radar good. It may not be terribly pleasing for the neutral to watch.
No, 1-0, 2-1 maybe.
Right. It's going to be a grind, but these are going to be styles that, Verona has the kind of style and the kind of system and the kind of approach that could easily aggravate a Milan side.
Absolutely. And they got the discipline defensively to do that too as well. So that's what they're going to try to do is, try to soak up some of that pressure and then try to hit them on the counterattack when they have their opportunities, take them with the playmakers that they have. And it's going to be a difficult game. I don't expect many goals in this game whatsoever. I would be surprised if 2-1 would be a high-scoring game for me in that game, I think. Looking at a 1-0, 1-1 type game, maybe, Ibra pulls off some magic 2-1, who knows. But it's not going to be terribly high-scoring in this game. It's going to be very disciplined, good disciplined game. It's going to be a good, entertaining game, but it's going to be a difficult game to watch if you're neutral because if you got no stake in this, you're expecting goals and some great passing. It's not going to be that. It's going to be very technical, very disciplined by both teams. And Hellas, they just know how to play these types of games. And Juric has been doing it for years now. So
yep, he certainly has, and he has found a niche here at Hellas Verona. He's done an excellent job.
Yeah.
Oh, goals of the week.
Goal of the week, yes. I'm sure mine will be much different than yours, but let's see. So honorable mentions for me, the Antonin Barak backheel flick. It was in my top 5, but some goals pushed it out of the way.
Okay.
And then pretty much any goaltender this weekend, Dragowski, Consili, Cranio, you name it. A lot of the goalies stepped up this weekend, some amazing saves, in particular Dragowski, but all the goaltenders, the honorable mention is that. That's as close as one of the goalies have come to being in my top 5. So coming at number 5 for me, Jakub Jankto with an Arjen Robben impression. Nice goal, left-footed shot off the right wing. Coming in number 4 for me, Frank Kessié with a bomb assisted by Ibrahimovic. Great goal there. Number 3 for me, Musa Barrow, his first goal of the game. It was a rocket, a beautiful move to free himself up and then get that goal. Coming in number 2, I'm going to go with Antonin Barak, his second goal. Outside of the foot, curler to the far corner. Nicely done, very technically done, very difficult to pull off. and I'm actually going to have a draw, another tie, 2 weeks in a row for first place, and they're going to go to the old men of the league. Gervinho, his first goal, the volley, I thought was beautifully done, beautifully taken. One time that right into the back of the net, and then, of course, Zlatan's bicycle, whatever you want to call it, goal. Impressive by the two older statesmen of the league to get goals like that. So those are my top 5, 6.
Yeah, we're not that far off. I don't have Yankto on my list. Coming in at number 5, I have Barak's second goal, the outside of the left foot. Musa Barrow's opener for Bologna, or his first goal for the equalizer. Curling shot from him. Antonin Barak's first goal for me is number 3. So he makes my top 5 with a back heel. Gervinho's volley comes in at number 2, and then Ibra. When a 39-year-old man does an overhead kick and scores, no matter how 39-year-oldish it looks,
yeah, it's a goal.
You gotta give it credit.
Yeah.
So
He
makes it.
He got up. We would have done that and fell and never got back up.
Winner for me, Sassuolo. They're a living, breathing thing here. Being able to have the resources to go on the road, go to the San Paolo, and beat Napoli 2-0, and prove that at least through 6 games, which like I said, I'd get through a third of the season, and let's see where everybody's at. But they're showing that they're in this, and that they're going to be a pain in the ass to everybody. And then loser for me, Inter. This is even without Romelu Lukaku. That's 3 points. That's 2 points dropped. With all the chances that you had. And you're talking about building this team to try to win the Scudetto. That is exactly the fixture that you must get 3 points out of.
Yeah.
No excuses, no exceptions. So, winner for me, Sassuolo. Loser for me, Inter.
Okay. For me, the winner of the weekend is Sinisa Mihajlovic for finally playing Musa Barrow and getting a win.
Yeah.
2 goals and assists. So that's my winner of the week there. Loser of the week, I'm going to go with Torino. I mean, you're up 3-2 in the 87th minute and still find a way to lose that match. They are the definition of fun bad, as you said, and that is unacceptable to be up that late in the game and find a way to lose that game. Pretty poor by them. I mean, if we're looking at power rankings, my power rankings haven't shifted too much. I still have Milan in first place in the power rankings. Second place, I'm probably not going to have Napoli at the moment. It's probably going to be, I'll say Napoli, Sassuolo, Juve, and Inter dropped to 5th in my power rankings there. But yeah, it's yeah.
I'm gonna power rank Milan first, Juve second.
Okay.
I just now that the band is back together, they're going to look dangerous going forward. Sassuolo third for me, and then I'll go Atalanta 4th. I think that's probably the most appropriate given the circumstances. So and then Napoli 5th. At that point, so it's basically the top 5. But if I had to do it from a power approach, I would have Juventus ahead of Sassuolo at the moment.
Okay. Cool. Sounds good to me.
Bigger margin of victory over Napoli than Sassuolo had. Although the circumstances under which they got it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, all right. So now let's get on to everybody's favorite portion of the podcast. Who won Calcio Twitter? Take it away. I'll go first because somebody had alerted me to this one.
Okay.
At Finally Haji. This was after Juve lost to Barcelona in the Champions League. Pirlo turned Juventus into Piemonte Calcio.
Very nice. Very funny. Let's see. So this one comes in from FC Barcelona. They get into the action. Last week we had Gladbach. This week we got Barcelona. So this is obviously after the game against Juventus. And they tweeted out, "We are glad you were able to finally see the GOAT on your pitch, Juventus." Yep. Take it out of Ronaldo.
Well done. Our good friend Scott Monroe at Scott S1T Scott _ Monroe MUNROE. Again, this is a Juve Barcelona situation. Barcelona were in their away pink colors. Juve really struggling against Palermo tonight.
That was funny. I thought that was very funny. Look, you can see the jersey. It's very pink.
Very pink.
This next one, Nino, man, Nino's really getting to it. He won 2 times last week. So this one he comes back again. Alvaro Morata. So picture with Leonardo DiCaprio doing cheers. It says Alvaro Morata scoring a hat trick against Barcelona at home in the UEFA Champions League, and VAR is laughing their ass off against him.
Good stuff.
That's good.
Good stuff. All right. So this one goes to this one's from at Free Range Rabbit, Rusu Milano. Earlier in the week, back on the 30th, in fact, I tweeted, this was after the win over Sparta Prague in the Europa League. I said, I'll keep saying this to you, Milan Twitter, until we've all accepted this. We need to accept and embrace the concept that Milan are a really good team and that we have crawled out of the shit that was the banter era with a backroom staff that knows how to assemble a team. At Free Range Rabbit happily replies by saying, imagine being so jaded that you find problems in a 23-game unbeaten streak, he said win streak, with 10 different scores by a group of kids who still aren't sure how to make a decent plate of pasta. God bless them. Well played. Well played. Free Range Rabbit was on the board.
Yes, I gave some credit to Juventus for this, for Who Won Calcio Twitter. In the 23rd minute, we talked about during the game, Alvaro Morata gets a goal, and this time it's in the back net, but ruled offside by VAR. Oh, sorry, no goal. No goal.
No goal. And Juve is even acknowledging it. So yes, Adam Digby. I think this is his first go at Who Won Calcio Twitter at ADZ77. Federico Chiesa leads all Serie A players in successful take-ons that look great on TV, but only result in a goal kick for the opponent. Isn't he the most hard runningest to the end line? And for whatever reason, that last touch, he just can't keep it in play before he's ready to cross it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Next one is from friend of the show, Nima Tavale. He says, has a picture of the Ultimate Warrior running to the ring. He says, Fabio Paratrici running into the referee's dressing room at halftime during Spezia Juventus.
Great stuff. At Roma 17, Wayward Giallorossi. Apparently, Sandro is a fucking waiter. Now, why are we this Sandro Tonali stuff?
I blame
the kid alone.
I was like Morelli starting this stuff.
With a picture of Justin Long from the movie Waiting. Did you ever see that movie Waiting?
Yeah, it was a great movie. Yeah, that's a great movie.
I thought it was hilarious. My wife sat down and watched it with me, and I think she left the room after like 15 minutes. It's definitely a guy humor movie. So.
It is. Next one is from Don Totti at Zaniolo_fan. Juventini celebrating a win versus newly promoted Spezia as if they won their 3rd Champions League. I love how low their standards have dropped.
All right. Our good friend Presidente from Milan Weekly Podcast at Presidente MCM. This is after Steve from Milan Weekly Podcast had a question for hashtag at Ask Vinny and Steve. If you would have to cast actors to play Vinny and Steve in a Milan Weekly Pod documentary, who would those actors be? And then Presidente probably responds when Steve asks himself a question, and it is the GIF of the Spider-Man pointing at each other.
Steve talking to himself online. Gotta love it.
Yeah.
Gotta love it. Any more? Let's see. Yeah. Oh wait, no, there's more. Don Totti again. Don Totti with another one at Zoniolo_fan. He says, cheat up Interisti. It's not like Milan are in first place in the league, are in a rich vein of form. Oh, whoops.
The GIF of Allegri. Yep. Let's see. Rafa. Let's see what he's got here. Okay, Rafa is trying to check in. This is kind of election related. I know one poll that is closed. It is a GIF of Arkadiusz Milik striking a ball off the crossbar.
As close as he comes to scoring a goal.
Yep.
And I guess there's one left here from the Calcio guys. Jokesters themselves, they put out a tweet today saying Juve are themselves when they're Hungary. Get it? They played Fenerbahce, who are from Hungary.
Yeah, I didn't find that funny. You guys,
They tried.
that's like a Laffy Taffy. That's like the Laffy Taffy jokes of Calcio. So,
Topless Stevie Club.
yep. Nope, Steve's not here.
Yeah, we're not taking our shirts off.
Yep, and yeah, I'm damn sure not. So, all right, so we got to pick a winner out of this.
Yeah, that's difficult. Yeah, if you're in the chat, tell us what's your favorite of the Who Won Calcio. Let's see mine. That is a tough one. I'm gonna go with some one of the earlier ones in this.
Yeah,
I think I'm gonna go with the. I can't pick them. Can I? AMRA is gonna hate me for this one, but I'm gonna say the fucking Sandro Tonali one. Apparently, Sandro's a fucking waiter.
That was good. That was good. All right, so okay, so that one is yours. I really like that one, but I've got to go with that free range rabbit. I thought that was that was so well played. I imagine being so jaded that you find problems in a 23 match unbeaten run with 10 different scores by a group of kids who still aren't sure how to make a decent plate of pasta. Well done. Yes, my pick for Who Won Calcio Twitter this week. Well played at free range rabbit. I love that I love that handle too, by the way.
Yeah, that's a good handle.
Free range rabbit.
I like it.
Well done. All right, and then yours was Wayward Jalarossi. He is our. So we have co-winners. And we're fine doing co-winners. It's not like we're handing out prizes for any of this shit.
Yeah.
So
not yet.
All right. So R_Carmen has selected this week's at Who Won Calcio Twitter. Wonderful. All right. So keep those Calcio tweets coming. We whether you intend to be in this contest or not, we look for them and we just grab them and nominate them straight away. So
yep.
It's definitely something that we're having a lot of fun with these days. So,
absolutely.
Yep. All right. I think we're going to put a bow on this edition of Serie Sit Down. Shameless plug time, Richard.
Yeah, you can find me at R_KHARMAN, and I will probably put out another video after the Thursday games for the Europa League. So I've been pulling up the weekly European Italians in Europe videos coming out to us. We've done the last 2 weeks. Where match day 3 is wrapping up here, so we'll put a video for that on YouTube. So check that out. And
Yep. I am at FTC_21 this Friday and Fridays for the foreseeable future, 2:00 Eastern on Man of the Match Radio with Alex Dono, our friend over there at Calcio Connection. We enjoyed it so much, and the first go around, and he said, well, do you want to make this a weekly thing? And I said, yeah, if it's 15 minutes on the phone, I can do that. So check that out, especially if you're in South Florida, if you have access to that Man of the Match Radio with Alex Dono, and I think that's at Onside Radio. So check all that out, and you'll get my spot, and I'll get Alex's questions. I'll fire away some answers. We'll get a good lively chat going about Serie A, in some of the mainstream radio that's out there. At Serie Sit Down on Twitter or Instagram, where you can find us on social media. We're also on Facebook. Serie Sit Down. We have our own channel on Apple Podcasts and SoundCloud. We also can be found on Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever there's podcasts. There's Serie Sit Down. So check us out on any of those formats. Chat. We enjoyed it. Thanks for continuing to support us. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like and subscribe so you can get notifications for whenever we do live recordings. I believe we're going to try to shoot for the early part of next week at an earlier time. We are trying to line up a guest. Do we want to spoil that yet, or do we want to wait till we have them confirmed?
Yeah, we'll wait.
We're going to leave you all in suspense. So. That's the way we do things around here. So we will be live with a guest, but we will give everybody notice when we're back live on the YouTube channel where you can check in and join us. So thank you as always for listening. For Richard, I'm Frank. Be sure you tell your paisans about us. Ciao.